And we begin what I hope to be a relatively decisive episode with the destruction of a station we neutralized last turn. It cost the Jupiter Titans one of their number, but they can now go back, repair, rearm, and go from there. Task Force Hobart is also in position, and we can redeploy them. Victor 342 doesn't want any piece of the action and is headed straight back to Maki Maki. In fact, a whole bunch of alien fleets are on their way back to Make Make. It's only this mothership that's heading out towards the base that is long since lost that won't realize until October next year that it made the wrong decision. The rest of these fleets are concentrating. I am looking at Task Fleet Omega and thinking, you know what? It can probably handle absolutely anything the aliens send at it. This is an awful lot of Supermax class Titans, and it's backed up by 4 Auckland Flight 2s with their plasma arrays. That's a lot of undodgeable, unPDable firepower to deal with. So I reckon we're in relatively good shape there. I'm going to continue the destruction of alien bases while the credible threats run out of the shipyards. We have got the aliens down to 38% of the fleet strength in the solar system. We need to halve this ratio again, but I'm hoping that after a battle at Make Make, we'll be able to destroy a large number of alien vessels, and at the same time, my economy has sustained a very high rate of ship production. As long as my mission control holds out on Earth and in space, we should be in a relatively good position. Mankind is currently producing like space Titan combat ships as if they were freaking Liberty ships from the Second World War. We're producing something like what? This would be like 60 capital ships per year, I want to say, between all of our shipyards. That might be a little bit of an overestimate, but you get the idea. With however many billion people united behind a single goal, and they really are more united than perhaps ever before, we're making serious progress. When it comes to firepower, engines, and armor, even the Supermax wasn't enough. The Ultramax class Titans are basically the next step up again. Capable of defending themselves effectively against threats across the full threat spectrum, capable of actually maneuvering and accelerating if we choose to do so. These are the apex of human warfighting technology in 2040. These are the best we have. And I think they'll make pretty quick work of this here station. After all, I think it's got slightly fewer layered defense arrays than we've seen before. No lucky hits on any radiators so far. And to take an example, nose armor, integrity 94.24%. Who starts a war with humanity? Like, seriously. Who takes a look at human history, human industrial capability, and decides to look at that mess and go, you know what? I'm going to try and enslave that species. Hey, look, aliens. It's the consequences of your own actions. On Earth, Servant Vietnam is no more, reducing further their control over provinces. I believe the alien lovers now have 30 of Earth's 221 regions, and with Saudi Arabia soon to come off executive cooldown, we can start to have a solution to some of those problems as well. There's certain pockets, I think, of servant control still in places like Africa that we might have to deal with just for the sake of completeness. I don't think Castillo would leave any servants alive, or at least in control of countries. But in terms of priority, servant Congo or servant Tanzania is not as important as, for example, a servant United States would be. So I think we're most of the way there, at least in terms of what we're doing on Earth. One handy thing about the Ultramaxes is that they carry their own fusion platform kits, which you can rapidly deploy in about 30 days into a space dock, which becomes a repair station, which allows you to repair damage to your fleet. It's kind of convenient if you're so far away from home that a flight back to Earth might mean a matter of 7, 8, 9 weeks, and it's actually faster to deploy the station and repair in situ. Don't think that just because I was fighting aliens, I forgot about the servants. I had these credible threat nuke boats available anyway, and I don't want to put them up against the aliens, so I thought it was time to clean up the last of the servant presence in space. Is bringing a whole bunch of nuclear weapons to a fight against ships that are mounting Tier 1 laser defenses and some great missile bays overkill? Yes, but I'm going to do it anyway. Lord Almighty, those are heavy ships. I actually think those Colossus-class frigates weigh more than our dreadnoughts. I do not want to know how much propellant is on those things to make them fly, or why they're so damn heavy. Let's go blow them up anyway. Because I don't think we've actually had cause to properly nuke anything this game yet, and in space, it's a lot safer than deploying those weapons on Earth. Having fired a bunch at the Basilisk, let's now fire a bunch at the Colossus. We've got pretty extensive torpedo bays here, so we don't have to worry too much about ammo. Mind you, this is already horrendous overkill. There we are, one got through. I mean, we do have our nose-mounted plasma arrays as backup, but there you go. That was satisfying. And the battle should end. There we are. Fantastic. Now, this is a ring core of a servant station, and I don't think I have any Marines with me. That's unfortunate. But the ships are gone at the very least. Do I blow up the station? No, blowing up the station would for some reason turn people on Earth against me for reasons I don't quite understand. So Credible Threat 3 is just going to park out here for a while. We'll even steal some fuel from the servants, I don't see why not, and get on with our lives. Task Force Australia has a date with yet another part of the aliens' vital shipbuilding complex, and I bet you know how this one's going to go. Losses are acceptable, failure is not. The Caliphate being released is basically an afternote at this point. We're consolidating Sri Lanka into India. We're going to consolidate Cambodia into China. The United States has cleaned up most of its Manifest Destiny territories in Northern America and now has a population of 661 million. I'm just waiting on the next chance to do annual direct investments there. Max is just staging the last few coups, and then I suspect it's going to be almost time for him to go into orbit. Earth is in decent condition. One thing, in order to declare war with the Caliphate and start absorbing some of these servant protectorate territories and whatnot down here, they're going to need an army. So we'll just buy them one. Oh, no, it's 60. Sorry, that's direct investment. So, there you are. It's alright, the Caliphate now has an army, and because it has an army, it can declare war on people. So let's get Tomi to go in there and set national policy on the Caliphate. It should declare war on a couple of nations, one of which is the Gulf states, the other of which is Saudi Arabia. It's time to absorb all this stuff together. We don't want to be allied with Saudi Arabia. We, in fact, want to be rivaled with Saudi Arabia. It released us, but, you know, sucks to be them. So we'll start cleaning this up. Earth is in good condition. Space is an absolute furball with constant interceptions, but we currently have the aliens at 35% fleet power, and I'm still constructing. I'm hoping that a massive battle at Make will help us, but really I think I'm going to need to swap from production of the effective but relatively low combat value Ultramax Titans to more of the credible threat Dreadnoughts, just to run the numbers up a little bit. I don't think I have any spare construction slots at the moment. Build a random one at Arato, it'll take 182 days. But for the most part, I'm waiting for the next generation of Titans to finish so that I can build more nuke boats, and the aliens can be sent back to whence they came. I'm not sure what we're going to do once Max goes to space, to be honest, but, you know, as far as going away parties go, I figured a coup in Iran was about his favourite thing to do. Iran had nukes and a robotic age military, so clearing it out with Max was much better than invading, so there you go. Alright team, we are at the gates of the Citadel. Let's go introduce ourselves. Short wall archers, center, engage, start the battle. Okay, looks like this station's actually got a battle station. That thing's got so much armor on it that I'm tempted to engage it last. Let's take out the layered defense arrays and then finish with the battle station. I just think that just taking more medium weapons off the field is going to be more efficient. Now let's just see whether 2 volleys destroy this thing, because that'll affect my targeting for later on. No, it takes 3. Okay. damn it, I was too slow. Wasted a volley. I don't like wasting volleys. I think some change their targeting in time, but not all. Sorry, just focused on fire efficiency here. Want just a few more rounds to kill that one. Okay, that's 2 down. Okay, they should all now automatically switch targets. Let's take out the layered defense arrays in the back, and then we'll finish with the battle station. I was expecting that to pop it, but it didn't. Oh, it did. Good. Looks like they've wasted a whole volley on the battle station. That's okay. Damage in terms of our actual incoming isn't that bad. The Tomi Nagai has lost its trim droplet radiator, but is nowhere near overheating, so I think we're okay. Battle station is about to go. Clearly it didn't accept my priority targeting commands, but we'll commit at this point. Okay, battle station down. Layered defense is all that is left. In go the plasma rounds. I'm especially happy with the extra firepower provided by the battleships. It's not as cost efficient as just building more Titans, I think, in terms of getting big plasma firepower, but it is something. So I think that is station neutralized with 1 warship damaged. The others maybe scratch the paint. Why does it say both sides departed the bloody battle? That's not right. Did I accidentally hit the wrong bloody button? Well, Task Force Omega finishes in just like a couple of minutes, I believe. So let's just roll the clock a little bit and then see if we can re-engage the station. That was very weird. No, that's assault hab for stuff on the ground. I don't want to do that. I want to re-engage the station. Transfer, alien station able. Transfer, 0 hours. Engage. Alright, 344 combat power. Start the battle. Does it has 1 layered defense array on it. Okay. Destroy it. That was very strange. Okay, now will the station be classed as neutralized? Great. Okay, victory for humanity first. The station counts as destroyed, which is what we wanted. So TF Omega, destroy the hab. Okay, there goes Alien Station Able, the first one they built in our solar system, and also the only local source of reinforcement. So now, if they want to help, they're going to have to burn here too. We rule local orbit. So now the question is, do I want to... And these ships will be bringing modules to build local reinforcements, so maybe we can start taking out the bases on the ground. Let's have a look at them, because there's 4, right? So I don't see why we wouldn't start, even while we're waiting for Max. As long as we can repair our Marines in orbit. So if we take out these 3 bases, that's a significant amount of their mining infrastructure. Let's do it. So here we are at the edge of the bloody solar system. Marines, are you really going to miss an opportunity to seize alien infrastructure on the absolute edge of known space? Well, the known solar system anyway. Let's go. 5 days until drop, reinforcements arriving shortly. We should also consider cleaning up the alien fleets that are in orbit, Victor 80, 365, and Victor 169, but until the refueling station is set up, which is what the reinforcing vessels are to do, we're not in a position where we can reliably engage them without them just fleeing with all their additional KPS. Not that they can refuel now anyway. In fact, it's worth checking whether or not any of my ships have decent stuff in reserve. No, not really. There's, wait a minute, the Aucklands. This fleet's probably too big, but the Aucklands have enough fuel to engage. So we could send 4 battleships up against this fleet. It's probably too large for 4 Aucklands to handle. I'd want to be able to engage with the Titans too. So we will wait for the reinforcements with the basing to arrive. Let's just check this Spirit of Tasmania. I thought this had... Okay, it has an outpost kit. So because it has an outpost kit, not a station kit, we're going to have to wait for one of those to arrive. Or if we destroy one of these bases, we can found one on the surface, which will be kind of funny. Alright, I'm not sure how long it'll take to chase down the remaining victors that we need, but I think it's time to get Max out to Make. So let's launch him to the Einstein, while the rest of the team takes over the affairs of planet Earth. I think this is a good moment. We're going to do a few more unifications on Earth, but I'm hoping that if we can get some good engagements against the aliens, it's mostly over. I have to admit, it's been a pretty long and interesting journey. Feels weird to finally be here. Alright, task. The auxiliaries have arrived at Make, which means we now have a refueling station being constructed. Just for good measure, even though this platform call will be finished on the 29th of November, let's add a fusion pile and a space dock. And let's upgrade the entire thing to a ring core module, because we can. Call it Omega Station. And this will be able to provide the reloads for the Marines and the ammunition, etc. that Task Force Omega are using, which means we have the go-ahead to drop on another base. I'm thinking the base at Frinya's Fortune is probably the next target. Stone Guardian base, 99% chance of successful assault. In we go. We can also resupply once the station finishes, as I said, which is handy. I have realised that Max can't leave the planet just yet, though. The reason being, I haven't actually equipped him with the endgame organisation. So let's deorbit him before we end up burning, like, national GDP's worth of cash, getting him somewhere and then just bringing him back. That'd be a pretty embarrassing ending. Direct investment is fine. So I'll confirm assignments, I'll get Max assigned, and then we'll send him to Make. That's another base destroyed. I think that makes exactly one more that we can take out. And then we have to wait for the Great Man. Task Force Omega, Marines, Salt Base, Twilight Blade Base, drop, which I think will put the aliens in a pretty bad position so far as their economy goes, although I think at this stage it's pretty terminal. That'll leave them with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bases, of which maybe 3 are operational in terms of generating resources, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 orbital space yards. We've destroyed about half their infrastructure in the last episode or two. I can also see that all the Hydra are camping out at their Alpha base. Interesting. Max will have to go introduce himself to each of them individually. And scratch another one. Well done, Marines. No one could ask for more. Make now has only 1 outpost. There are fleets still in orbit, but once we refuel, we'll be able to engage them freely. And that should start to chip down the alien fleet strength as well. Speaking of which, I should probably construct some more nuke boats of the credible threat class. Just keep the production running because we want to hit that magic fleet superiority cap. So if it can be building, it should be building. I think we've got the resources after all. There we are. That should do the job. Now this looks like a fleet arriving at TF9562 Demlon. Well, let's destroy the HAB first. 70% chance on the assault, I'll take it. If not, we can always found a platform after we destroy the station, but let's cut the resources off first. I really don't care about...
$1. That's what Paul Tibbet's mother paid for him to
Wow.
look inside an airplane at a local fair.
Well, there's
Decades
Banerjee
later,
being a
he
downer
flew the
again,
plane
although
that
at least this point the quote is slightly related to the issue at hand. Let's see if any antimatter weapons pop eventually, but for the moment let's just grab some random stuff, because I can feel the end approaching.
Back on solid ground.
Okay, so Max is on solid ground. Let's assign him the org. So he can leave behind the Athens Intel... He's taking the International Monetary Fund to Makemake, but he can leave that organization behind. He can equip the Omega Solution, which doesn't really give him much, but it's now equipped. And in the next phase, he can go into orbit and be on his way. In order to unlock that mission, we have to destroy fleets, and so over here, our battle fleet with a couple of credible threat ships and 3 of the new Super Titans is going to engage enemy fleet Victor 288. We'll beard him up, we will engage. Now, I don't expect the nuke ships to actually accomplish much. Almost everything is going to be achieved by the Titans, which unfortunately have not been given custom names, but that is okay. Nothing sophisticated about this battle, the pure application of firepower. I think I will, however... Oh, they're running. No, they're turning. Okay, I was worried they were going to run. The application of plasma at long distance is probably going to be our best chance. The Dreadnoughts will start firing their missiles at some point. Corvette down. The Destroyer is also going to go down in a moment, and then it'll just be the Dreadnoughts. Interestingly, it looks like they're actually priority targeting the credible threat. I presume because the credible threat is slightly less... More importantly, the credible threat doesn't have any PD. And the formation is not tight enough for the other ships to give it cover, so we're going to have to move some of the other Titans in to intercept. That was a price I paid for my arrogance, not picking a formation which protected the nuke boats. That said, we are engaging relatively successfully so far. Autumn Dawn should be about to go down. If we bring this Titan back online, PD should be able to handle the incoming. Good stuff. Alright, Autumn Dawn should be about to be KO'd, at which point we can switch target to the Resolute Justice. At this stage, I am going to set a primary target Stone Guardian for our nuke boat, which will cause it to fire its first volley of missiles. One Titan down. This is unfortunately, I think, the price we pay. We'll bring Aggressor back online. And we'll clear the priority targeting. Those missiles aren't achieving anything right now. Instead, we'll tell both Conquest and Abraxas, or Abraxas rather, to engage Resolute Justice at close range. Turn, turn. Enemy is down to 2. Looks like Aggressor's lost some, but not all of her weapons. We'll have to turn around to re-engage the other Dreadnought. But hopefully this is almost over. More casualties than I would have liked, but at the end of the day, at the moment, I have more material than they do, and sure as heck more ability to replace it. Okay, everyone priority target Stone Guardian. Face the nose in. I think this is going to end up being a one-on-one just because it'll take so long for the other one to re-engage, but Abraxas has the firepower in this fight. Have we? Yeah, we've lost our nose cannon, actually. I was assuming Abraxas still had its primary firepower. It doesn't. So we may actually need the other one. Well, there's one way to get the autopilot doing what it needs to do, but it will be a while. Nonetheless, with plasma going out, I think we're done here. Okay, that fight was more brutal than we're used to, but mission accomplished. The fleet surrounding this particular object, Ariel, has been destroyed, leaving the two sites below vulnerable to nuclear bombardment or marine attack. We have both available to us, so I expect the battle fleet here will be able to establish a repair depot and neutralize both these bases in turn. The alien economy is frankly done for. Alright, Max is on board with his organization, so let's check out this transfer. We want to go to Pluto, Make, and we want to rendezvous at Omega Station. By burning 3,895 Delta V and the GDP of a medium-sized nation, Max will arrive complete with the organization in 7.16 weeks on 13 January 2042. Light that antimatter plume and get on your way. I'd like to see something intercept the Einstein. So named, of course, because we're using a motor which is the most literal definition of expression of E equals mc squared that I can conceive of. It's just a matter-antimatter drive. Oh, fantastic space dock completing at Omega Station. That should mean great things for Task Force Omega. No. I presume because it doesn't have power generation yet. That's the wrong station. Yeah, Task Force Omega... Oh, interesting, no. Oh, does it need the... I've stuffed myself up here, haven't I? Yeah, it needs the central core to complete. So I should have just let it complete as a Tier 1 station rather than showing off by trying to set up a colony station in orbit of Make, but you know what, it is what it is. What we can do to save a little bit of time is we can found another platform. And this one, we literally will just do what we said we were going to do the first time. We want hubris station, because I paid for mine, and then hopefully that should be finished soon enough. We want Max to get a warm welcome. That's credible threat entering orbit around 5297. Now, with all those nukes on board, I'm willing to bet that we can just pull off a nice bombardment here. Engage. And I believe with all those nukes we should have so much damage that we win the bombardment phase despite their massive combat strength. There you go. Throw enough nukes at the problem and you're done. Now, the credible threat isn't particularly well positioned to fight against all those victors, so I reckon you get out of there. And as always, IO Fortress is a good home away from home for, lost ships. Off you go. The main importance of credible threat ships now is that they exist, giving us fleet power. Now, because Max is paranoid and needs to do a mission, otherwise he'll complain, he's just going to surveil the insides of the Einstein all the way on his direct transfer burn trajectory to Make orbit. Not bad. I'm sure the crew's not feeling at all nervous having Max Pichardo watching their backs, but hey, they're mostly focused on making sure they don't lose, containment of all the antimatter that they're literally using to fuel their ship. Personally, I think that'd be terrifying. First human base in the Neptune system. Just because we're close to achieving our goal doesn't mean we shouldn't rack up milestones. Alright, Task Group Omega now has a station with a working repair dock, which I didn't try and over-upgrade this time. They'll be repaired before Max arrives, meaning he'll have a great complement of Marines ready to go down with him, presuming that we can get the enemy fleet numbers down in time. And a base in the Kuiper Belt. The sun is merely a bright star at this incredible distance. There is no warmth and no light, save those that we brought with us. Yet here we are, making a home amongst the ice and stone. We have put, for no real practical reason, electromagnetic propulsion. For no real practical reason, I have decided that we're going to put a base on Pluto. There is no real reason for this. There's no purpose to colonizing Pluto, but nonetheless, it is exactly what we are going to do. We're even going to grow crops here because then we can truly claim to have colonized it. We don't really need much. In fact, at this point, even defense arrays are probably irrelevant, but we'll build them just for good measure. I won't build a mine because I don't want to tax our limited MC supplies because we're filling that with as many ships as possible. Instead, just be satisfied that we've built this thing out here. We'll add a Marine platoon barracks, and that will be that. Pluto. You know, I want you to remember something. According to the game, right now, back on Earth, there are people following the Protectorate. Because that makes sense. Get out of my solar system, Hydra. Alright, Max has arrived at Make. The problem is we're still not quite at the fleet level, and even worse, the biggest alien fleet is actually physically landed on the surface, which makes it very difficult to actually engage. I could try and nuke the base, but I'm pretty sure it won't let me because that's the objective. I could try to land Max and everyone else on the base, but again, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to, so once the fleet repairs, I can join him, the Marines will become available, and then the question is, how do we engage Surface Base Alpha? I'm sending chase fleets off against the other Victors that I can engage. Victor 365 is an obvious pickup for 3,000 combat strength, so that's going to be a good pick as soon as the refueling is complete. Maybe, just maybe, I'll be able to force them down below 20% soon. I feel we're really close. Now, if my math is right, this battle should do the trick. Destroy all these ships, the 3.2 combat power within, and the ratio should finally allow Max to go down to the surface and do his thing. So for hopefully the last time, let's engage. They're evading, we're bidding, and we're fighting. Head to head, humanity and Hydra, in defense of their final citadel. Couldn't have written it more poetically myself. All captains pick your own targets and engage. Max at the back there, don't get killed. Ballarat and Townsville going for the first kills. The Vincenar, the Camia, Nero II. These are all names we know. And it's an absolute shooting gallery. They've got nothing on us. Absolutely nothing. And we were meant to fear this. Alright, job done. Let's just check the job's done for good. They're at 19%. So as soon as they become available at 11:07, no. Have our counselor target the alien wormhole module with the trigger the weapon mission. Do I have to land at the base? I can't land at the base. I can't bomb the base. Leave this with me for just a moment. This is a dramatic moment. I don't want to be flailing around on camera. Now, it turns out that we need more Marines in order to complete our final operation, and so while those are being organised through the use of Marine companies at the bases around this Make, seems like the aliens drew just about every ship they could pull together to stage a last stand at their final system. 8,000 fleet power, about a third of everything that they had left. A huge sum of vessels swatted out of the sky. Mankind has become too strong and too skilled for its Xenos opponent. Now all they have to do is wait for the Marine modules of Omega Station to complete, and Max will go down there for a reckoning. On the 16th of April 2042, I imagine most people on Earth are oblivious as to what is currently happening in the Kuiper Belt around Make. What they do know is that roughly half of the global population are strongly in humanity first pocket. About 80% of global GDP is accounted for by nations under their control or significant influence. The greatest economy in the world is now India. It's 2 billion people and it's 51 trillion GDP, purchasing power parity, followed by the Eurasian Union with 46, also the most educated nation on the planet. And then there is the United States of North America, almost entirely supporting humanity first from the beginning. The USNA enters 2042 in an interesting situation. It is no longer the world's unchallenged global economic power. Its GDP has increased very, very significantly since 2042, but other powers have risen in response. The combination of the EU, Russia, and many other powers, for example, including the extended British Commonwealth, are finally eclipsing it. But it is, however, a nation in which inequality has been basically defeated, the population united, education standards raised, and all of the rough edges of American democracy have more or less been resolved. And as the world's unchallenged military power, perhaps no other country on planet Earth is as closely connected with what is about to happen as the United States of North America. On the 16th of April 2042, Max Pichardo receives his orders to assault alien surface base Alpha around Makemake. He and his elite marines will deploy to the surface, secure the base, and push on towards the wormhole. Bon chance, Max.
The enemy's gate is down.
The enemy's gate is indeed down. I didn't catch that reference. I wonder if that's only for this action. Very cool. And so as our hands hover over the metaphorical button, there are only a few things left to do. The first is to give Max the famous trait. Whatever happens from here on out, he should be remembered as one of the greatest soldiers of humanity first, a temporary recruit to the Council who became the terror of the Hydra and all who cooperated with them. As his hand hovers over the button, I have to imagine Castillo maybe spares a thought to what this might mean for the salamanders and the griffins. The Hydra came to enslave humanity, but we're not their first target. We've already met 2 other species that the Hydra have enslaved through the use of ferricides. Who knows how many more might be on the other end of that wormhole. What does this device that targets Hydra mean for them? Is it possible that the xenophobic Humanity First is actually the faction which is delivering potential freedom to any potential serf species of the Hydra Empire? I don't think Castillo knows or cares. All he knows is that this is an opportunity to finish what we came here to do, to end the fight, potentially for good. Max, make us proud. Yes, the text get in the way.
I will help.
Here, at the threshold of our victory,
I think it's done.
one almost pities our foe. We were underestimated, and now we strike without mercy, a death blow to the very heart of our enemy. Using their greatest weapon against them, we end one threat and send a message to others. As the enemy falls, we claim dominion over the stars themselves. If there is one regret to be had, it is that humanity will never be underestimated again.
Wow, we got the fleet of mankind there. Imperial Navy being constructed. Victory for Humanity First. The faction known as Humanity First has achieved its goals. They've deployed a weapon in the alien wormhole. What few alien forces remain cannot carry on the fight. It's done. Our escort and screening units sacrificed themselves to ensure the assault transport made it through. The wormhole was secured by an ops team which successfully engaged and held off the enemy ground forces while our counselor armed the package. The aliens responded with heavy reinforcements. Our ops team's signals went dark one by one. Our counselor's last transmission, before being cut short by enemy fire, was that the package had been delivered. Note that just says the signal was cut short. I choose to believe that Max made it out of that. With their objectives completed, our surviving naval forces broke contact and withdrew. The Hydras stayed in defensive formation around their wormhole and did not pursue. 48 hours passed as though they were days. Around the 50-hour mark, we began to notice irregularities. Hydra ships began moving in new and erratic patterns. We detected evidence of at least one collision. 53 hours. That suggests to me that it somehow made its way onto the ships of the fleet, which suggests that huddle incentive that the Hydra are given extends to making contact with foreign objects and wanting to spread it as far and wide as possible, which is pretty impressive. Otherwise, how would it have affected the fleet? 53 hours and 49 minutes after the weapon was delivered, the energy signature associated with the enemy wormhole cut off. All data that we can gather suggests that it has been collapsed. The wormhole is gone and the Hydra invasion is over. We'll probably never know what happened on the other side. Our men are telling stories, letting their imaginations fill the gaps. Hydra habs filled with insane thrashing aliens attacking each other and themselves as the virus ate their bodies. Maybe they collapsed the wormhole deliberately in a last desperate attempt to protect themselves. Maybe the mechanism was destroyed accidentally as dying Hydra fought each other. What matters is that it's gone. There's still work to do. Not all the Hydra in our system have been infected. There are outlying habs and ships to destroy, not to mention their slaves on Earth. But they're alone now. No more reinforcements, no more exotics. It's just them against us. And there are a hell of a lot more of us than there are of them. Very true. I like to think we got them all, but realistically we probably didn't. No virus has a 100% kill rate, so there are probably survivors. Yeah, but what about their slave species that are no longer being controlled? I would be seriously concerned if I was the Hydra that any surviving salamanders might be, looking for some payback. It's a pity in a way, but I'll admit there's a certain satisfaction to knowing that they'll remember what happened when they tried to invade Earth. At the very least, they'll remember why they still can, because we're not done. We know now that interstellar travel is possible, and we're not going to wait around for them to come back for another try. Next time, we'll be the ones coming for them. Looks like Castillo is intent on founding the Imperium of Man after all. We're going to go find the Hydra, apparently. Interesting. The other thing that was notable in that closing cinematic was he said that the key was that humanity was underestimated, which I think plays very well into our tactic in the early and mid-game of basically playing dead, playing weak, playing soft until we suddenly revealed that we had teeth. Interesting how well that closing cinematic and our playstyle came together. But I think that's done. I think that's it. I think I'm going back to the main menu now. What a ride. And so the Humanity First story ends here, with Earth Unconquered, Terra Invicta. I like to imagine that this isn't the end of my time with Terra Invicta. I've had a great time playing it while it was still developing in the beta, but I've never had a chance to try out the mid and late game. I've never truly had a chance to test out the fleet combat on a solar system scale, and I have to say, I enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed it too. Over the next couple of days, I'm hoping I can put out some guide videos to help other people with the game, and then we'll start discussing whether taking input from here and maybe also from patrons as to what the next run might look like. I've got some ideas, but I'll put them to people before I commit. Thank you again to all of you who have stuck with me through this run, and thank you to Pavonis Interactive for putting together this fantastic title. I hope you've all enjoyed, and I'll see you again soon.